My child, stop scrolling for just a moment, because what you are about to hear did not reach you by accident. Something has been waiting at the edge of your awareness, quietly calling your name, hoping you would pause long enough to feel it. Do not move away from this message yet. There is a truth unfolding behind the silence, and the one connected to your heart is closer to giving up than you realize. They have been trying to appear strong. They have been telling themselves they can endure one more unanswered question, one more lonely night, one more moment of wondering whether you still feel what they feel. But tonight, something inside them has changed. The strength they once depended on is trembling, and the words they have been too afraid to say are rising to the surface. Please open this before I give up. I cannot do this anymore. Stay here, because those words do not mean what fear may immediately tell you. This is not a message of anger. It is not a threat. It is not a declaration that love has disappeared. It is the confession of a heart that has carried too much for too long while pretending everything was fine. Your soulmate is not tired of loving you. They are tired of loving you in silence. They are tired of wondering whether the connection they feel is real only to them. They are tired of looking for signs in the smallest moments because they have not yet received the reassurance their heart has been begging for. And heaven has allowed this message to reach you now because there is something hidden beneath their exhaustion that you must understand before the next chapter can begin. Pause here and breathe deeply. There is a reason certain memories have been returning to you lately. There is a reason a particular feeling appears when the world becomes quiet. There is a reason you sometimes sense a heaviness that does not seem to belong entirely to you. The bond between two souls can carry emotions across distance, silence, and time. What one person refuses to speak, the other may begin to feel. What one heart tries to bury, the other may experience as restlessness, longing, or a strange ache without a clear explanation. You may have believed you were simply overthinking, but something deeper has been moving beneath the surface. Your soulmate has been reaching for you inwardly, even when pride, fear, uncertainty, or circumstances kept them from reaching outwardly. Do not skip this moment, because the first revelation is only the doorway. The truth is that your soulmate has rehearsed a message to you more times than you could imagine. They have written it in their mind while lying awake. They have formed the words while walking alone. They have imagined your response while staring at a screen, debating whether to speak or remain silent. Sometimes they nearly sent it. Sometimes they erased everything. Sometimes they convinced themselves that if you truly cared, you would somehow know. Yet each time they chose silence, the distance between what they felt and what they expressed grew heavier. They wanted to tell you that they missed the version of themselves that existed when hope felt easy. They wanted to admit that your presence awakened something in them they had spent years trying not to need. They wanted to confess that behind their calm appearance was a person constantly wondering whether they had misunderstood every sign, every meaningful glance, every deep conversation, every strange coincidence, and every moment that seemed to carry more than ordinary emotion. They began questioning whether the connection was sacred or imagined. And still, every attempt to release you only made your memory return more strongly. Something extraordinary is waiting beneath this next truth, so remain with me. Your soulmate has not been struggling because they stopped believing in love. They have been struggling because they believe in this love so deeply that the uncertainty has become almost unbearable. There is a difference between losing feelings and losing hope. Their feelings remain. Their hope is what has been fading. They have tried to protect themselves by lowering expectations. They have told themselves not to check for signs, not to revisit memories, not to imagine a future, not to wonder whether you are thinking about them too. But every time they close one door within their heart, another opens unexpectedly. A song reminds them of you. A place brings back a memory. A familiar phrase appears at the exact moment they are trying to move on. They hear your name when no one was speaking about you. They wake from a dream carrying the feeling of your presence. They begin their day determined to let go, only to feel your energy return before the evening. This is why they are exhausted. They have been fighting something they cannot explain logically. They do not understand why your connection remains alive despite silence. They do not understand why their heart refuses to treat you like someone ordinary. They do not understand why the thought of truly losing you creates a sadness deeper than the distance itself. And there is more. Your soulmate has been hiding this struggle from almost everyone. The people around them may see someone functioning, smiling, working, speaking, and carrying on with life. But behind closed doors, another story has been unfolding. There have been moments when they sat alone and asked, "Why does this still matter so much?" There have been moments when they tried to distract themselves, only to realize that distraction can occupy the mind but cannot command the heart. There have been moments when they felt foolish for caring this deeply, and moments when they felt certain that the connection was too meaningful to abandon. Stay until the end, because the most important part of their message has not yet been revealed. Your soulmate is not asking you to rescue them. They are not asking you to carry their emotional weight. What they are asking for, even if they cannot say it clearly, is truth. They would rather hear an honest answer than remain trapped inside endless uncertainty. They can endure difficulty. They can endure distance. They can endure timing that is imperfect. What they cannot continue enduring is not knowing whether they are holding space for a future that you no longer want. This is where heaven speaks gently to your heart. Silence can protect you for a season, but eventually silence begins creating stories that truth never intended. When nothing is said, fear becomes an author. It fills empty spaces with rejection. It turns delays into conclusions. It transforms uncertainty into imagined endings. Your soulmate has been living inside those imagined endings, and each one has taken a little more strength from them. They have pictured you moving forward without them. They have wondered whether someone else now receives the warmth they once hoped would belong to them. They have questioned whether they waited too long, cared too much, or misunderstood the purpose of your connection. Yet even now, something within them is holding on. That is why this message says, "Please open this before I give up." Notice the meaning hidden within those words. Before I give up. Not after. Before. There is still a doorway open. There is still a final thread of hope. There is still a part of them waiting for something that feels real enough to believe. They are standing between surrender and one last act of courage. And the surprising truth is that they may be closer to speaking honestly than they have ever been before. Do not assume that their next step will be dramatic. It may arrive quietly. It may be a simple message. A question that appears ordinary. A sudden reaction. A small attempt to reconnect. A moment of unexpected vulnerability. They may not begin by confessing everything. They may test the emotional ground before revealing how deeply they have been affected. They may speak carefully because they fear that one wrong sentence could close the door forever. If that moment comes, listen not only to their words but to the emotion beneath them. What sounds casual may carry months of hidden longing. What sounds hesitant may be the bravest thing they have done in a long time. But there is another layer to this revelation. Your soulmate is also afraid that if they speak now, you may see them as weak. They have worked hard to appear independent. They may have convinced others, and perhaps even you, that they were unaffected. They may have acted distant when they wanted closeness. They may have responded briefly when they wanted to say more. They may have withdrawn because they feared being the only one still emotionally invested. Their silence was not always absence. Sometimes it was self-protection. Sometimes it was a test they never intended to create. Sometimes it was the only way they knew to keep their heart from becoming completely exposed. And yet, hidden love does not remain still. It gathers pressure. It appears in dreams, mood changes, sudden memories, and emotions that arrive without warning. Your soulmate has reached a point where pretending is becoming harder than confessing. They are beginning to realize that protecting the heart at all costs can also prevent the heart from receiving what it has prayed for. They are beginning to understand that dignity does not require emotional silence. They are beginning to see that honesty may hurt for a moment, but uncertainty has been hurting them every day. Something huge is waiting for you in what comes next, because heaven is not only revealing their feelings. It is also revealing your role in this story. You have not been unaffected, even if you learn to hide it differently. There have been moments when you wanted clarity too. Moments when you wondered whether reaching out would change everything or make everything more complicated. Moments when you felt their presence strongly, then doubted yourself. Moments when you considered closing the chapter, only to realize that some chapters do not close simply because the pages stop turning. Perhaps you have been waiting for them to show certainty first. Perhaps they have been waiting for the same from you. Two hearts can care deeply and still remain separated when both are afraid of being the one who cares more. This is how meaningful connections become trapped in mirrors. Each person reflects the other's hesitation. One becomes distant because the other seems distant. One remains silent because the other has not spoken. One protects themselves because the other appears guarded. And beneath it all, both may be asking the same question: do I still matter to you? Your soulmate's inner world has been shaken by that question. They have examined your past words, your pauses, your changes in tone, your presence, and your absence. They have tried to decode what was never clearly spoken. At times, they found hope. At other times, they found reasons to retreat. Their mind has been moving between two stories. In one story, you still care and circumstances are creating the distance. In the other, they are holding on to someone who has already released them. The emotional exhaustion comes from constantly moving between those two possibilities. But listen closely, there was a recent moment that pushed them closer to their breaking point. It may have seemed small from the outside, but it touched the deepest insecurity within them. Perhaps they saw something, heard something, remembered something, or noticed a silence at the exact moment they were hoping for a sign. Whatever happened, it made them feel that time was moving forward and they might be losing their chance. They did not necessarily cry in front of anyone. They may not have said your name aloud. But within them, something whispered, "I cannot keep waiting without knowing." This moment changed their emotional direction. Before it, they were trying to remain patient. After it, they began considering a final decision. They started asking themselves whether love should require this much guessing. They wondered whether continuing to hope was an act of faith or an act of self-abandonment. They imagined what it would mean to truly release the connection, and the thought frightened them because part of their identity has become tied to the possibility of you. Do not misunderstand this. Healthy love does not ask someone to lose themselves. Heaven does not ask any heart to live permanently in confusion. This message is not telling you to act from panic, guilt, or pressure. It is inviting awareness. It is asking you to recognize that something meaningful may be reaching a crossroads. The purpose of revelation is not fear. It is clarity. The purpose of divine timing is not to force. It is to illuminate what has remained hidden so that free hearts can make honest choices. Your soulmate has been praying, whether in formal words or quiet thoughts, for a sign that they should not give up. They may not have called it prayer. It may have sounded like, "Please show me what to do." It may have sounded like, "If this is real, let something change." It may have sounded like, "I need peace, one way or another." Their heart has been asking for direction, and this message arrives within that same emotional window. Stay here, because another revelation is unfolding. Your soulmate does not only miss your attention. They miss the way your energy made them feel seen. They miss the sense that someone understood the parts of them they usually kept hidden. They miss the strange comfort that appeared even in brief moments with you. They miss the possibility that the future might contain a love that felt deeper than convenience, performance, or surface-level attraction. What they fear losing is not merely a person. It is a version of life that became visible when your paths crossed. They imagined conversations that never happened. They pictured moments of honesty, peace, laughter, healing, and mutual understanding. They imagined telling you things they have never told anyone else. They imagined being accepted without having to constantly prove their worth. Those visions became emotionally real to them. And now, giving up does not simply mean letting go of a connection. It means grieving a future that felt spiritually possible. Yet the final thread of hope remains because something has continued to happen that they cannot ignore. Every time they decide to close their heart completely, a memory returns with unusual clarity. Every time they convince themselves you have forgotten them, they feel a sudden inner pull. Every time they attempt to replace the connection with logic, something reminds them that not every meaningful bond can be explained by timing alone. This does not guarantee a particular outcome. It does reveal that the lesson, truth, or next step between you has not fully completed itself. Your soulmate is nearing the point where they must choose between speaking honestly and walking away quietly. They do not want to leave with unanswered questions, but they are afraid that asking those questions may confirm what they fear. So they are waiting for courage. They are waiting for a moment that feels safe enough. They are waiting to know whether the door is closed or simply difficult to reach. And perhaps this is why you have found this message now. Not to promise you a fantasy. Not to tell you that another person's choices are written beyond their free will. But to reveal the emotional truth of a connection standing at the edge of change. Something must become clearer. Something must be acknowledged, released, or renewed. The old pattern of silence cannot continue forever because both hearts are being asked to grow beyond it. Do not skip the final moments of this part, because the hidden message within their words is about to become clearer. When your soulmate says, "I cannot do this anymore," they are not saying, "I cannot love you anymore." They are saying, "I cannot keep pretending I do not care." They are saying, "I cannot keep waking up with questions and going to sleep without answers." They are saying, "I cannot keep protecting myself by acting like your absence does not affect me." They are saying, "I need to know whether this connection has a future, a lesson, or an ending." They have reached the edge of emotional honesty. And once a soul reaches that edge, change follows. It may come through communication. It may come through a realization. It may come through a surprising encounter, a dream, a message, or an event that brings everything hidden into the light. The stillness you have known is not as stable as it appears. Beneath it, movement has already begun. There is one more truth your soulmate has not admitted, even to themselves. It is the reason they have not fully walked away. It is the reason they continue to hope despite exhaustion. It is the reason your name still carries emotional weight in their heart. They experienced something connected to you recently that made them believe the story might not be over. It was subtle, but powerful enough to stop them. For a moment, they felt certain that you were thinking of them too. They dismissed it at first. They told themselves it was imagination. But then another sign appeared. And then another. The timing was too precise. The feeling was too strong. The memory came with too much intensity. They began to wonder whether the distance between you was not emptiness, but preparation. Whether both of you had been changing separately before meeting the truth together. Still, they are afraid to trust it. Hope has disappointed them before. They do not want to build their future on signs without substance. They need something real. Something clear. Something that does not require endless interpretation. And what they are about to do next may surprise you, because they have secretly decided that they will give this connection one final opportunity to reveal its truth. They have chosen a moment. They have chosen a way. They may already have written the words. They may already know what question they will ask. They may already be preparing themselves for whatever answer comes. But before they take that step, something unexpected is going to surface, something they recently discovered about your silence, your past, or the reason you pulled away. And when that truth reaches them, it will completely change what giving up means. Because the message they are preparing to send is not the message they will ultimately send. Something else is about to be revealed first.